Welcome back, healers. We're tuning in to another episode of Heal the Healer, Mami Goddaughter Edition.
Hey everyone, welcome in. Welcome to another Heal the Healer, Mami Goddaughter Edition. We always begin with giving our respects to those who came before us and those who give us the authority to be in the space. So I want to give great honor and respect and gratitude to our home temple in Benin and all of the temple keepers throughout the ages who have stewarded the knowledge and protected it, passed it on, so that we have the ability to be in strong connection with our ancestral roots and practices. I want to give great honor and respect to our great matriarch, Queen Mother Mano Naye Pujita Wanimaso II, who is the international global leader of Nazia Fa Spiritual Institute. I also want to give respect and honor to our home temple in the US, Nazia Fa Spiritual Institute of North America, and the founder and leader and my spiritual mother, Miano Ananasi. I greet you and your ancestors and all of the energies that are walking with you in this life. And of course, I want to give great respect and honor to my own ancestors and the energies that are with me. We are glad to have you on this Sunday. Let's just begin with a check-in. We are almost completely done with the fast, just a few more days. So let's just talk about how we're doing and go from there. So the floor is open.
A go. How are you? Yes, the fast. I was approaching halfway compliant with the fast. And and I started traveling and it kind of threw my schedule off. But I'm grateful, to still be able to be connected and to have the teachings that I can show up and be able to tap into the energy at any moment that I need to utilize. So yes. So I'm grateful. And I need to continue to fast, actually. In fact, I probably extend my own personal fast. How about that? Mm-hmm. Alafia.
I go. It's good to see you, Mika. Welcome. Good to see you, Angel. Welcome. So my check-in for the fast. Well, let me introduce myself. I'm Bansi, and I also want to give honor to our temple in Benin, our great matriarch, Minonaye Pojita Enimaso II. I want to give honor to our temple here in the U.S., Nazia Fa Spiritual Institute, and our leader, my spiritual mother, Miano Ananasi, and all of my ancestors. So greeting all of you, and I just wanted to check in for the fast. My fast has been, we do words of power every night during the fast, and the leader of words, we changed the leader, and the leader of words of power asked, in one word, how would you sum up the fast so far? And for me, my word was revealing. So this fast has been revealing on so many levels and like deeper levels than I wanted to go, or knew I had to go. I thought I was healed and there's more healing I need to do. And I thought I was being, as authentic as I could, but sometimes I'm not in alignment with my thoughts. Like it's like I find that like my want to people please or my want to, hide my, what do you say, hide my like instability, to kind of like be strong, that kind of thing, really causes me to not speak my mind or speak my heart or move in the way that my spirit wants me to. And so, yeah, kind of being called out on so many levels, and it's revealing. So I'm appreciative of the fast. I'm happy that I've gone through this fast in the way that I have. And, you know, with all of that revelation, all that revealing, I see like all of the support and all of the reasons why these things are coming up and why they need to be addressed. And so I'm really appreciative for being revealed to myself. I feel.
Lancia, welcome in. Angel and Ikoma, we are just giving an update on how we're doing. That can just be a general check-in. We also just have a few more days of the fast, so we were just also speaking to how that's been going and how we're doing. So the floor is open for you to give any updates that you feel like sharing.
Uh, Alafia, Alafia, Alafia. Okay. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia. I'm just coming. I'm just getting in late. I'm just getting back to the country, so I missed a lot. So I'm just kind of jumping back in where you guys are. So I'm just happy to kind of to be back and be able. Hopefully, I can catch up with everything you guys have been doing. So I go.
I love you, love you, love you. So yeah, I love doing fast because it is a great way to look in the mirror, so to speak, you know, and just see yourself on another level. Because I've been seeing me a little more clearly, just why I tend to, uh, I guess the situations that causes me to not make the best decision and walk in my truth, you know, I'm starting to recognize those more and more. Um, and what I do and what I turn to, a lot of times I'm seeing that I do turn to like food out of frustration or, you know, if I'm upset at somebody else and I'm like, you know what, just forget it. You know, I kind of get into those modes and I'm starting to see what my triggers are a little bit more. Um, so trying to curb that and recognizing that, and still staying on my path that I know I'm supposed to be on has been helpful. Um, it is, yeah, seeing yourself is not always easy, but it is so enlightening and it allows you to be a lot just freer. And even if I don't always think the right thing at first, I'm able to catch myself like, oh, before I have an action, you know. It's like, oh, yep, here we go. You see that pattern? There it is, you know, and I'm able to make different choices and decisions, you know, because it's needed. It's really needed. So I'm very appreciative um, of that fact and the fact that what happens goes on with me every time I learn something new. It definitely seems like someone around me ends up needing a lesson like that, or they they share something very similar. And I'm like, oh yeah, that happens with me too. And I started doing this, and so just having those moments of sharing and vulnerability has been really nice. I think it's helped bridge my connection with some of my older adult girls and even my teen girls. And it's all levels to it, but it's very similar situations. I can connect with them a little bit better, which is crazy because that's what I put in my goals, that I wanted to do that, have those connections and so that we can be on one accord a little bit more and walk this path. And it's like, oh, I didn't know what that was going to look like when I asked for it. And now that I see it, I'm like, oh, this is part of it. Like, okay. Me recognizing the things about myself and sharing how I'm doing things different helps get everybody. It's like now they're coming to me and walking with me. So that's really, really nice. Um, I'm just, it's, it's like, you're happy about what you learned, but at the same time going through it, it's like, like deep breaths. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited and thankful that I can one at least acknowledge it and I can see the change. You know, I think so many times we don't even see, or acknowledge like, hey, you're making some better choices. We're changing. You know, that's a great thing. I go. I love you.
I go. Yes, I definitely can relate to what a lot of my sisters have been saying as far as how things have been going with the fast and things just being revealed and seeing so much more of yourself more clearly. Because during a fast, you strip away a lot of the distractions or the things that are keeping you busy. So you really have to deal with what comes up, as well as something Miano always says is remember what you prayed for. And so we set very specific intentions in the beginning, and then we are all at the same time embarking on a fast. And even if we're doing it at different levels and different capacities, the intention is still there. And so it just amplifies everything that we're doing. And so I have definitely been seeing myself, different aspects of myself, as well as seeing a lot of progress as well. I would say that this has been the most authentic fast that I've done. In the past, it's been very like, not exactly performative, but more of like trying to make sure I just hit all of the requirements because those are the requirements, and less about like focusing on the internal work that it's doing as well. And so this fast has been about like figuring out how to maintain balance, because that's a big theme in my life that I've been trying to achieve, is just always staying in balance and in harmony. And so there are some aspects that are going really well, and then others not going as like well, as in like it might not meet the requirements, but it does meet the overall intention of growing stronger spiritually. And so that's been really cool to see, as well as just, realizing when I'm handling different situations better than I used to, and also having so much more grace for myself with realizing how much more I still have to go, but not feeling bad about it or like berating myself about it. It's just like, okay, this is where I'm at, and these are the steps that I could take to, get to my ultimate goal. So that's been really nice. I have loved doing words of power every day. Prayer has been like the one constant throughout my life and throughout my spiritual journey. And so I think that would be a really interesting topic to talk about today, is how everyone feels about prayer, what's its purpose, what's its use, and then also just how has prayer been along your whole spiritual journey. So the floor is open.
I'll go. Really good topic. So thank you for bringing that up because um, so I didn't have a very strenuous Christian upbringing, but I did go to church. I did, find that in my earlier days, like very important, like the relationship with God. I know I may have mentioned it a couple of times before, but my family is more spiritual, meaning like they value the connection with God rather than the function of church or going to church or, that was indoctrination. And so when I go to church, my mind was kind of open when I went to church. But even so, I I saw people praying. I saw all the, prayer warriors. I saw the function of prayer, but I didn't feel anything about it, like I didn't see that the things I prayed for happened. Like there wasn't like a before and after effect. It was like more of a emotional effect, meaning like, at the end of the service, they ask like, anybody need prayer? Come down to the altar, type of thing. And, you come down and, whatever prayer is there invokes tears or some like strong emotion. And I don't know if that's just out of like just the vulnerability of it or guilt or just your feeling. But I didn't feel like if I prayed, what I would get on the other side was answers or change or result. That's just me. But now when I pray, like now that I understand like the prayer is not just a venting session or it's not just trying to evoke emotion. Like you're really communicating with the divine and you have like this relationship and you have the ability based on what we're learning from Miano, the ability to make sure that that connection is deeper. I'm actually, and I know myself, right? Before I didn't know myself before I didn't know that I had a lot of power in my mouth, and so now that I know that and I know who I am and I have a connection, a deeper connection with the divine, when I pray, um, I see the effect. I see that keeping myself pure and using the power in my mouth, I see that the things that I asked for happen, the things that I pray for. When I pray for change in my life, I see the wheels turning. I see the change in perspective. I see the changes in the people around me. I see the benefits of what I'm asking for, and it makes me like more responsible when I pray. That's not just for me, but it's for like those around me in my environment because it helps shift things to goodness. Like you can see the shifts. And so I'm amazed by that because, they tell you like you don't really. Like in growing up in Christianity, it's like you don't really have that power. You're praying, and you're praying that Jesus will make it happen, and I didn't know that I had that ability to pray and ask existence for the things that I needed and I wanted, and then actually shift my environment, change my situations to make it happen. And so I feel like I'm more empowered to make changes in my life instead of having to go to, someone in the church or having to, ask someone to help me make the changes in my life. I have more control over myself through my prayer, through my, however you want to call it, prayer, invocation, wishes, spell cast, however you want to call it. I find that it empowers me to make more responsible decisions in how I speak, to make those changes because I actually see them happening. Oh, I feel it.
Thank you so much for that, Angbasi. It is so powerful to be able to like see your whole journey, and then especially when it starts to truly click and you start to see the changes, and start to notice the difference of when, like you were talking about, just praying to vent or, you know, just kind of talk, and when it's truly about that relationship. Um, does anybody else have some similar experiences?
I'll go. Yeah, I definitely have very similar experiences as Bonsi. Um, I, I grew up um, in the church, Pentecostal church to be exact, and this was like back in the 70s and 80s, long before social media and a lot of things became uh popular. And I'm saying that because I noticed this uh differences because one side of my family, like my father's side, were Pentecostal, but my mother's side was more Baptist and from the East Coast. So there were differences. There were some similarities, but a lot of differences. What I found is that a lot of the stuff that we did in Louisiana, especially what we call tent revivals that were in the woods or what have you, was very similar to what I've experienced in Vodou or more traditional African. We lost the actual language, but we did not lose the spirituality. So a lot of those things that we thought were under the guise of Christianity was very much very similar. And as far as the praying, one thing that for me, that has also changed. But I do remember, like you said, Amansi, when what you're taught in Christianity is that you're supposed to be crying, like you're constantly begging for forgiveness for not being perfect. You know what I mean? And it seems like the more that you come to spirit with that type of energy, you bring that energy to you. So you come to the spirit with a suffering energy, and then this is what's sent back to you. But when just on my spiritual journey, and again stepping out of Christianity and learning, kind of remembering what all the keys in the Christian church, the keys, I say keys because there's certain things that um, make foundational sense of the way that we're supposed to communicate with spirit. But when I change the energy of begging and pleading and actually, understanding there's a place for gratitude, there's a place for asking of what you want. And the stage that I am now, I don't really ask for what I want. I tap into the energy that I want to feel, and I let the spirit bring me what it is that I'm feeling. And what I found for myself, that has taken my prayers to another level because things happen for me that I could have never planned. Things happen, it opens the way for miracles for me when I tap into the energy of what I want, as opposed to, oh, I want this person, or I want this to happen. I want this much money. I want this type of love. Instead of me focusing on specifics, I just tap into the energy of that when I'm asking, and it just opens, like I said, ways for miracles. Things happens in my life that I could have never planned. So that's where my progress of prayer has gone, from begging and pleading in the church to where I am now. So I go.
Yes, that is so good. And I can relate to what you're saying when I grew up in the church as well in my younger years, and then my mom got sick, and so we wouldn't regularly go to church. But prayer is something that was always in my life. My mom was a prayer warrior. My dad, some of my fondest memories when I would visit him is like just waking up at like it was somewhere between like 3 and 5 a.m. and he would just be praying. He did that every day. And it was just like very comforting. I'd hear him and then fall back to sleep. And like you were talking about how you grew up Pentecostal and you would go to these different like services where even though it was in Christianity, the power was still there and the traditions was still there. I would say very similarly, the way that my parents prayed and the people that they prayed with regularly, it was very powerful. It wasn't very like performative or just words. I went to a Christian college, and that was the first time I had ever seen or came across like written prayers, where during chapel they would have a written prayer that they would read, and that had never been my experience. And with the praying that my parents would do and like their community that I was around, it wasn't just prayer. They also fasted with it. It was also affirming it throughout the day. It was also when they would see a sign, they would acknowledge it. And so for me, prayer has always been very powerful. And so I have been very blessed in that way. And then just as I have been on my destiny path, I've also had a lot of things that just make sense when I found out about my destiny, and being a powerful prayer warrior, knowing that it comes from like my bloodline, is really, really something that I'm grateful for. And when I think about the way that I think about prayer is like, you know, a conversation with spirit. It's a way of building that relationship. Um, and so part of being in that relationship is, yes, speaking like your true feelings, but also giving room for a response. Um, so I wonder, when you all pray, what is your practice of like after you pray, after you go to spirit and, you know, release your wishes or requests?
I go. I hate to be the only one speaking. I was trying to wait for other people, but me personally, once I pray about something, I live as if it's already happened. Like in my head, it's already happened. I move accordingly. I move as if it's already done. You know how they have that saying, "It's above me now." I don't really like worry about it. I just be like, okay, it's done. All right, it's done. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yes, that is so good. And, you know, in the new age world, I think they call it the law of assumption. It's acting as if um, you know, it's already done. And I think that's something that's really powerful to remember. And that's something that I've have to work on and I'm still working on, of just knowing that it's already handled. And I think the perfect example of that is when I'm, you know, taking care of kids and they'll be like, I'm hungry. And it's like, okay, you know, you already were planning on making lunch or whatever. And they say it like right before you get in the kitchen. And then you'll be in the kitchen and they'll come in and be like, I'm still hungry. And it's like, what you think I'm doing at this stove right now? Like, I remember what you said, that you were hungry. Plus, like, I was already planning to do this for you. And I think maybe sometimes with prayer for me, I pray for the same things. Um, and I mean, spirit might kind of feel the way that I feel when the kids are like, you know, I'm hungry. Is food almost done? Is it done yet? And so acting as if is something that I want to do a better job of doing. So thank you for bringing that up. Alafia, alafia, alafia.
I, I go. You know, that's so funny because I do something. Once I ask for it or pray for it, I start preparing for it. Like, oh, you know, I start doing my part. Like, so I remember some years ago, I was trying to get a house, and I was like, I'm getting a house this year. Okay. I put that, I have prayed for it. I said, okay. So I started getting boxes and stuff, and everybody worked like, oh, you got a house already? You found your place? I'm like, mm-hmm. And I just started packing up. The kids are like, Mom, why are we packing? I'm like, because you got to be ready. I'm like, I don't want to, you can't sit there. When you're already ready, you ain't got to get ready, type of thing. So it's like, hey, I know we about to be moving. So start packing up your stuff. All the good dishes are getting packed up. We're going to use these little paper plates for a while because, we'll be ready to move and all this stuff will just be trash. And so we were just in boxes. And it, I ain't gonna lie, it took almost a year. But when I say like all of our stuff was already packed up, my kids were just, and they were kind of like, Mom, like we ain't moved yet. I'm like, it's coming. Just hold on. We ready though. I said it doesn't matter about the timing or when you think it's supposed to happen. I said when it does happen, we gonna be ready to go. Y'all see these boxes right here along the wall? Like that's all we taking. Everything else we buy new beds and all the other stuff would be new. I said so. Now we ready to go, so now we just got to be patient, just keep moving, you know what I'm saying? And so when we did get it, it was just so exciting. They were just, I think, having them see that, was, a testament like, just get ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Stop asking for stuff and then sitting around and doing the same things you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? I said, you done asked, like you said, okay, you done asked for food, but you didn't never come to the table to eat. Like, why was you not prepared and you weren't ready to eat? You still got to do all these other things and brush your teeth and wash up. You not ready to eat. So prepare yourself. So when breakfast is ready, you coming right on down. Like, it's time to eat. You know what I'm saying? Everything's done. So you got to prepare yourself. God they give you these things, but we so busy looking elsewhere. They like, well, shoot, the food is cold now. We done sat at the table. We was waiting on you to come. Like, it's cold. So stuff like that. I try to see that and encourage that a whole lot more. Just with my kids and every time they say like something's not going on, I'm like, was you ready for it? So maybe you wasn't ready yet. You know what I mean? Think about what else you got to do. So, because he always answers. You know what I mean? It's always there. So you just got to be ready. Lafayette, 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 Lafayette.
Gafara, I'm greeting everyone. How are you? I'm greeting Mom Strong. I'm greeting Angel. I'm greeting Mika. I'm greeting Lenitra. I'm greeting, trying to see the name. How are you? I'm greeting you. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm greeting everyone. Who is this in the corner over here? Y'all know my eyes, Miss Garrett. I'm greeting Miss Garrett. I just want to come on. I don't mean to interrupt too much. But y'all see what we in the middle of, yeah? Y'all see it? Okay. Y'all know I've been telling you for over a year to get ready for this moment. Okay. Well, it's gonna get worse before it get better. But this is gonna help us bring in the new energy that we gotta bring in. So you guys, if you matter of fact, was it this time last year? I asked you, did you want to continue with Road to Initiation, or did you want to go into, what was it, communal living? And all of that. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Um, we have to learn to. I was having a conversation earlier this week with a young lady. You have to learn to be in your spiritual journey, evolving, healing, doing all of that, but stay connected and stay sensitive to what's going on in the world. Because what's going on in the world is what the celestial bodies want to happen. And so you have to be in alignment with that. So it was what I'm saying making sense. You guys know what I'm talking about, or do I need to back it up a little bit? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. So That means if you know it's going to get worse before it gets better, you need to decide what side of the line you're going to be on, right? You're going to be here, then you need to be here, but you need to be here in a way where you're able to take care of yourself and take care of your family, meaning that you're farming, you're growing up your own food, you have a water source, um, you uh, have some mode of communication outside of this internet, whether that's long distance walkie talkies, whether that's divination tools, whatever that is, you need to be able to communicate and stay connected to people. Okay. Um, Outside of the internet, you need to have a light source, a power source, right? And you need to have protection, right? So if you're a woman, you're gonna need, some type of muscle around. Don't mean it has to be a lot of muscle, but you need to have somebody that's around. Okay, that's if you're gonna stay here. We need to get more indigenous in our living. Okay. If you're not gonna stay here, if you're like, man, I can't grow nothing, this indigenous what? I'm a city girl. That's all I know. Well, believe it or not, if that's you, you need to leave. You need to leave the country and find you somewhere else to be that's not a high target right now, and start making yourself roots there and find a way, right? And if you say, well, how am I supposed to do that? What am I supposed to do? And the first thing you need to do in doing that is you need to have you a source of income, because wherever you're going to go to, um, more than likely your money will be the US dollar will go further there. Okay, so you need to have you a source of income. You need to have your savings that you take, and or some type of remote source of income, or just be skilled. Just be very skilled, but understand that that skill somewhere else may not pay what you're used to. Okay, um, and so once you have your income set up, then you need to have community and start looking. There's a couple of places. Of course, you guys are welcome to have that conversation with me about Benin. There's people in the sisterhood that are in Ghana. There's people in the sisterhood that are in South America. There's people in different places. Um, so we need to start having like real conversations, that affect people's real lives, and things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and have a timely message, because I don't know if I'm gonna see all of y'all in a couple of hours. And just say that this is not the time to panic. This is just the time to go into action, because you should have been preparing, because I've been warning you. But if you haven't been preparing, I'll tell you what I told someone the other day. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. So we just need to get into action, and it's okay. It's okay. Everything's going to be all right. Just connect with people who maybe have gone a little further on this planning path, and they can help guide you along the way. Go with people you trust that aren't going to scam you, to where by the time you get to where you're going, you ain't got no money and no nothing else, nothing that they promised. Okay. Uh, Remember, I say the only thing between a businessman and a con artist is results. That goes for anything. Businessman, a priest, a travel agent, anybody. The only difference between what they claim to be and a con artist is the results they get you. So make sure that you're with people you can trust, people that you know get you results, and things like that. Yeah. All right, I'm gone. Y'all continue the conversation. If you have questions, you can message me or come to the 10 a.m. class, and we'll spend a small part of time going over that. The main subject that we're going over is role of a woman. Okay.
Thank you for that, Mianu. Yes, we are living in very unprecedented times. And so it's important that we are getting all of our ducks in a row. And beyond just putting them in a row, actually actively taking care of each duck and making sure that they got everything they need. And I feel like prayer is also a big part of that, right? How many of you have, like, on your prayer journey had things come up that talk about you preparing for these kinds of times? Is that an experience any of y'all have had? I see some head nodding. Yeah. I remember as a child, I had a reoccurring dream about being in a war. It was the same dream, and I had it for years on end as a child. And so it's crazy now to be living during those times. How's everybody feeling about that? Neri said a little bit anxious. Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable. But the way to get through your anxiety is to start actively taking steps in it. That is something that I've been working on with my daughter all the time, because she gets very anxious, and then I'll tell her, like, okay, well, let's just do something about it. And then she'll be doing the things and she'll forget that she was even anxious. And I'm like, we gotta remember this key part, And so as you make those small steps, they build and your stride gets longer and longer. So it's really about building community, staying connected. That is how we're going to get through all of this. They say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go with a group. And so we are filled with different skills, and we have all our own networks. And so when we're connected, everything will get taken care of. Right. And we have a strong relationship with spirit. We have been praying, we have been fasting. And so all the pieces are coming together, right? Mianu has, been offering support and guidance and warning and all of the things. And so now is the time to really, buckle down and start doing it. It's time to move it up on the list. When you're in the stores, make sure you're grabbing stuff. When you see a random yard sale sign, maybe stop there. You might come up on a generator or something, you might start making connections. So again, remember what you prayed for, so we can ask for protection and provision, and then we will walk right on past that sale sign on that big old solar paneled flashlight, because you at the store for eggs, which I hear are like $20 a dozen now. But just keep your eyes open, okay? All right, the floor is open for anybody who wants to share.
I go,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, that's so true. Just my upbringing, my mom was always very conscious about things like that, just being prepared. Um, and staying connected, even if we're far away, without device. We used to practice, she used to call it our superpower, like telepathy. At first, being young, I just thought it was just a fun game. But she used to say, okay, I want y'all, we had to sit quietly and imagine a string connecting us, a cord from our belly button. She like, see, this is the cord that used to connect us. She said it's still there, it's just in a different place. And you use that cord to connect with me if you ever needed me, And so we were always try to send each other like telepathic messages, and like, Mom, I was scared. Did you feel that I was scared? Or I was really happy. Did you feel that? You know what I'm saying? And we would always just check in like that. And since I was little, and just to strengthen that bond, and always stay connected no matter where we were. And that's something that I do with my girls too. I'm like, can you feel it? Do you feel me? I'm here with you no matter how far away. And but just doing that, I think it's funny that she's like, however we're going to stay connected, I just thought about those moments and how my mom really has, planted seeds like that for me and my girls. And that it's not a fake thing, that's not fictitious. Like, we do have the power to connect in those ways. And we have these abilities to do such a thing. And they just have to be strengthened. And so things like that, and just always having us stay prepared. She always grew her own herbs and things like that. Like, oh, we don't have to buy that from the store. My mom has that. Even to this day, my kids, when they get sick, they're like, Mom, make me some tea. I need a tea. They don't. And so no one's like, take me to the doctor. I need to go there. They're like, no, I need a tea. Somebody make me some tea. um, I remember even my niece, we sent a care pass and the tea care packages to her when she went to college, and because she wasn't feeling well. But I love that that's how their first thoughts of things like that. And so my mom just being that very instrumental person and planting all these little seeds, um, and this is what's growing from it. And so now when it's like, oh, be prepared and know how to do these things. Hey, we didn't go to the pharmacy for a whole lot of things. So that part is already like, okay, we know how to heal ourselves. I know I can feed myself. I know I can stay mentally and spiritually connected to my loved ones, without any device or screen. Um, those are just a couple of checks. I know there's more check marks, but like you said, getting those ducks in a row, and just lining them up. Like, okay, like, what else do we need to work on? What else do we need to do? Um, it's it. I never. I've always, I guess, been mentally prepared for stuff like this because my mom's always taught us that. She's like, yeah, this world is not going to be going the way we like it to, not being part of it, and those kind of ways are important. And so I don't know, I guess for me, I've always just been waiting to see it all happen. Like, oh, is this it? This is when, we get to put these things into place now. So yeah, none of it really surprises me, nor does it, I get fear from it either. I just kind of been like, yep, my mom been telling me this stuff was going to go down like this. So here it is, and just putting those things in place and getting more things into place. Um, I, uh-oh. I go, Alafia.
Go. I appreciate how ancestors like prepare you through your spiritual journey, because part of the spiritual journey, or my spiritual journey, and probably many of us, like, throughout that journey, you are pushed, or I was pushed. Let me talk about me. I was pushed to start to break away from systems that controlled my life. It's like a what do you call it? Um, like a breaking down of the current um, like landscape of what's been built based on what institution you're attached to, or schooling, or work, or community. So throughout my spiritual journey, there has been many detachments. And in those detachments, I've been pushed to be more independent, and independent for the reason, in the beginning, even now, it's like to be able to um, put my trust in ancestors, right? Instead of putting my trust in the job who pays me, putting my trust in ancestors, that they will lead me to following my spirit, to doing the things that I need to do for my destiny, and like money will follow me, like that kind of thing. Or my time can't be sucked up by someone else. I have to utilize all of my time. And so in that detachment, and some of it's not, doesn't feel good. But in that detachment, I can see that as the world changes, their vision is way further than ours. So as the world changes, I see how like I've been made ready on different levels, many different levels. So for instance, I last year went through initiation. I last year left my job. Last year, my family kind of crumbled. um, and um, but before that crumbling, like there was like an upside down that happened to where I was providing, and because I left my job, I no longer was the provider, but my husband was. Like it was like a restructuring that needed to happen even within that dynamic. And so like I was pushed to find ways to make money remotely. Why? Because I needed to utilize all of my time. Like it's my time to follow my head. But at the same time, it helps. Like how Miana was mentioning, we in this time of change, we have to find ways to make money, but be other places. So that helped. I've been through the crumbling of the family. Now I live communally, which I appreciate because that's the traditional way that we live, and it also builds stability and structure. If we were on our own, going through economic changes or all the changes that are happening, it's just up to you and you to cover everything, and we're stronger as a community. So that has been a change. Also, this summer, we started a garden. I think the place that I had been always had a garden, but we kind of revived it. So I find myself doing things that I haven't done before. Like I'm always interested. We're getting like fruits and vegetables. Like we're buying them at the store, and I'm like, let's see if I can propagate this. Let's see if I can grow this. So I'm growing lettuce right now. I'm attempting to grow asparagus. I'm growing garlic. We're growing. I ate an apple and stuck it in a seed in the ground. It's growing. We got potatoes. We got snap peas, some lavender. We're like, you know, we're growing. And so all of the tomatoes, so all the things that we eat, I'm like, let me figure out how I can grow it. And so I'm doing that as well. Also, because I'm living, in the style that I'm living, I've also been able to, through my community, make roots or begin to make roots somewhere else. So, going back and forth to Benin, and making roots there, having another place in the world to go, has been what ancestors has, curated through my spiritual journey. So I just see the hand in ancestors, and it's not just like the metaphysical, like they're focused on how you're living your life, protecting you and setting you up in that way. So I just wanted to express how I'm prepared because I followed my spiritual journey. I followed the voices of my ancestors, what they wanted me to do, and because their vision is so much further than mine, I'm starting to be. It's revealed how much they have been preparing me, and I'm like, okay, what else? What else have I been prepared for? As long as I keep listening, as long as I keep honest and going after what they've put before me, I don't think I wouldn't be prepared for anything. I'd be prepared for everything, you know? I feel.
That's so good. It's like we are always on the path, and the less that you resist it and just go with it, the less painful it is. And then also you find that you're exactly in the right place at the right time. And so I'm curious as to where are you right now on your path? Where does Spirit have you? Because they have you there to be able to help contribute to the community. So where are y'all at with this, and with where you're at, how do you feel it applies to the current situation?
I go. I'll just say where I am in my spiritual journey. I have which is constantly evolving. Um, but I would say maybe slowly but surely I've kind of reverted back into my ancestral mode, and what I've come to realize or remember that I come from nomads. So me trying to live a life based on what society tells us that we're supposed to do is not my path. And in this path of nomadness, I am in a constant state of surrendering, and also listening and moving when I need to move and staying still when I need to stand still. And in knowing that, or in practicing and moving like that, I've come to develop a strong sense of I feel like I'm protected spiritually and physically because I've learned to listen. And even if I get a message to move or not move or whatever, and it doesn't make sense to me, I've learned that it doesn't have to make sense to me, but to just, go and trust. And it's easier said than done. I'm the most stubborn person. So, yes, I've had to learn the hard way that this is what works for me. So, yeah, that's where I am right now. I feel.
Yes, having flexibility is a huge skill that is necessary right now. And I'm excited to hear more about where you're at and where you're going to be going, and how ancestors use you in those spaces. Anyone else want to share where they're at and how they have been acquiring the skills that they need for this time? I go. For me right now, I am still in Benin. Um, but I've been wanting to come back to the States with my daughter because she's been here for a few years now, and she is the biggest family person. Ever since she was literally a toddler, like she would always want everybody to be together. And when anybody would leave, she would start crying. And so she's really been feeling it that she hasn't seen her family in the States in a while. And so I've been making the preparations to try and come back. And then all of this is popping off, and it has me feeling very torn. Very torn. Um, and so that's something that I am starting to pray on about where I need to be. If we need to just stay here or go back, or where exactly we're meant to be. And then how do I navigate that with my daughter? And how do I help her to be able to continue her faith journey, even when you don't get exactly what you're wanting, which is a huge life lesson that, we're all learning and working on, but I think it's especially hard for children. So I'm in a kind of conflicted in between space right now. Lafia.
A go. I think for me, I feel you. I understand, Mama Sean, because I have to really make like big decisions and pray on how I'm moving forward, because initially I was planning on being in Jamaica to escape the US. It's not far to get to if things pop off, but I was called to the motherland. When I met this group, I also was just being challenged, I think, like spiritually to go. And so upon arriving in the motherland, finally, I did not want to leave, clearly. Um, I was guided to plant roots there. So fast forward, I have a home in Ghana, and I also bought land in Ghana, and I'm taking others with me. I normally don't bring others on my investments or my journeys. Like, I'm really private, but I feel my ancestors were saying you can't keep it to yourself. I met with the chiefs. I'm connected with national security. So, there's no like hiccups and scams involved. I really am grateful for the opportunity. And I felt the class situated me by letting, when Miana was teaching us, like, your ancestors have to back you in your entrepreneurship. And I really felt backed. Like they were literally guiding me. I feel like the revolutionary Harriet Tubman type, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm coming back for my people. I was like, I'm only gonna take 10 because I want to make sure everybody gets, they land, whatever they choose to do. So that's currently where I'm at in the process. And it's like, do you leave forever? Or do you just like set things up? So with this Trump and all these politics, the things that's going on in the world, I just it's just saying like, oh, you got a head start, you was already moving, you already was planting seeds in the place you need to be. And I just said, let me come back to Jamaica just to make sure, so I'm in Jamaica now, but because I have a farm here that I started, and I just wanted to make sure that I was making the right move. So, yeah, but that's what I'm doing. And a lot of times I've been absent, but I'm still present in spirit. And I always look forward to the sisterhood and the guidance that I get from Miano and the teachings. The connection is real, and the ancestors are moving. And I'm honored to even have the opportunity to help others in the area. Oh, okay. So look, this is the other part. I was getting emotional. I was trying not to cry. um, so I got my DNA ancestry results yesterday. And so it was like I'm like 38% Nigerian, which they said I already had the Nigerian spirit because I be hustling. you I you use a social entrepreneur. What is it called? Serial. Yeah, that serial entrepreneurship. Like you are a Nigerian girl. So it was like 38%. I was like, wow, okay. And then it said like I think like 18% with Benin and Togo and Ghana. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so this is it. I went to the slave castle when I was in Cape Coast. I literally walked through the door and no return. Oh my God, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm really like the ancestors is really covering me. I be protecting my energy because I cannot be around a lot of people right now. So y'all keep me covered too. I needed to be on the words of power, but I always go to sleep. But yeah, I just, wanted to share that with you all. And if you was thinking or interested or needing no more information, I kind of walked the walk already for us. And I'm gonna get with Mianu and see about the dual citizenship or what Benin is offering because I got my Ghana card. I'm working on my resident permit. You know, Ghana offers citizenship as well. It's a little different than the Benin process, but if they'll have me, hey, I'm trying to connect with my lineage. So yeah, keep me covered, y'all. This journey is happening. It's happening. I'm seeing it unfold. And just reach out. You'll laugh, you'll laugh, you'll laugh, you.
That is so encouraging to hear. Yeah, we need roots spread all throughout. So I love to see how ancestors are putting everybody in their strategic placement, because we have to really band together and get our communities together. And coming from America, we have so many different lineages, connecting back to Africa. And so I'm excited to see all these different places that we're starting to set down roots so we can have a fully working network. So big ups to you, Mika, and starting that process and having another place. I think about with the Underground Railroad and how we had spots everywhere and we had people in different levels and different classes. There were people who didn't even look like they'd be associated. And so we need to make sure that we are making connections with everyone. Yeah, so that's good to hear. How's everybody else right now on their journey?
I go. I uh am in a I am in a healing, tear it down to build it back up um phase of my journey. I feel like right now the biggest project that I have going on is me. Uh I started I started watching African movies in 2006. The very first African movie I watched was Beyonce, the President's Daughter. And ever since then, and that was back when like people who watched African movies, everybody always talked about how bad the movie was and the quality of the production and all this other stuff. But I always really liked the plot. And I would be watching and I'm like, we do that here. Or I would be looking at what they're eating and I'm like, that looks like Haitian food. That looks like Jamaican food. That looks like Dominican food. And I just started noticing so many commonalities. And I was like, we have a lot more in common as far as just African people within the diaspora than what we have that separates us. And it just sparked a desire in me. At first, it was just wanting to go to Africa to see it, to actually be there and have my feet on the ground. And eventually, that turned into wanting to move there. Um, I ended up like really wanting to go and trying to come up with a plan for what that looks like. But then I got married and I was like, well, if he's not trying to go right now, then how can I go? And uh as time like has gone on, I feel even more like a stronger pull for me to finally like move. Like it's time, Lenitra, to start putting um, action to start putting action behind your desire. And like the fear that I was feeling before, I don't feel anymore. So even though this part of the process is really painful, I also understand that it serves a purpose in preparing me for the next step and clearing a path to make it possible so that I no longer have a reason to keep saying, oh, well, I want to go, but I can't because of this, or because of this person, or because I have this commitment. those things have been disappearing. Um, Again, so I'm like snatched. And I'm just like, no, no. And I had to just come to the point um, where I accept that what I was meant to do and the desires that I have are there for a reason. I used to be Christian. One scripture I remember people were so horrible at interpreting, or at least I thought that's not what that means, is when people would always say that if you delight yourself in the Lord, He'll give you the desires of your heart. And people usually would take that as whatever I want, God is going to give it to me. And that's not how I understood that scripture. And I feel like even more so, the way I understand it is exactly what it means. If you delight yourself in the Lord or in the divine or whatever name that you have for it, they'll give you the desires of your heart. The desires that you have were given to you by them. It's not that they'll just give you whatever it is you want, but the desires that I have were placed there for a reason. And if they are there, then it must be because I'm supposed to do something with this. Why do I have this pull in whatever direction it is? Because everybody has a different pull. But why do I have this desire? Am I supposed to be going this way in this direction? And I just feel like I am finally moving along in the direction that I'm supposed to be going in towards my desire, or towards my desires, and that this part that I'm in, things just had to be cleared out the way. I had too many things that were preventing progress. Uh, so it don't feel good. Yeah. And I feel like, oh my goodness, I cry. I haven't cried yet today, but it's working. That's the most I can say. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
Yes, I love that. I swear the Bible started making the most sense after I left Christianity. I'm like, that's what they meant when they said. So that's true. I think there's a fear sometimes that when we surrender to what Spirit wants from us, it's gonna take us somewhere that we don't want to go because we've been in the beginning stages of our spiritual journey where we've had to strip away a lot of the things that we were attached to, the things that brought us comfort or protection. And so the association that we have based on our initial experiences with Spirit is like that of separation from things that we want or we like, but truly it's just like an ultimate becoming to be able to truly get us to what we want and what's healthy and sustainable. And so, I'm so proud of you for all of the work that you're doing, Lenitra, and so excited for you to start moving into this life that your heart and your soul has been calling for so long. And I'm so excited to see you be able to express yourself fully and what that looks like because you've always been so radiant and so comforting. And so I know that it's only going to expand bigger and bigger and bigger. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia. Okay, so we have about 40 more minutes in this session. We have talked about a lot of things. Time is so interesting when you're in flow. And so right now, I guess I want to just open the floor to see if anybody has anything that they want to share, anything that maybe they might need some type of like consult with, or like, I don't know, sometimes it's just good to be able to talk things out with your sisters. And so we've been talking about some heavy stuff, some lighter things. Does anybody have anything on their heart that they want to bring to the group? Alafia, Alafia, Alafia.
I'll go. I wanted to check how you ladies feel about living communally, and if you find that living communally is important for you on your spiritual journey, like having community. Oh, I feel.
Echo. So yes, I have started my communal living journey this year, and it's been amazing. It's a lot of trust there, okay? Because you're not going to be able to live in close quarters with, we got 10 people and not have trust, and just trust on so many levels, right? Not just like, oh, I know you and you're cool. I don't think you're going to harm me, but just a lot of things. And so it has been interesting seeing, like, even my mom, who's the matriarch of our family, but my mom has always been a little more free flowing and not like a stern type of disciplinarian or something in a leadership in certain areas. And so when we pick up those things, she's like, well, wait a minute, can you do it right? Or because, we're obviously younger, she's like, are you all going to be able to handle these things? And when we do, and we do it a different way, we teach her about technology and, like, Mom, you can pay this bill online. We don't have to, get a check and mail it anymore, and so, her letting go of some of those things, it was a little difficult, but she has really come into that and allowing us to, handle certain things. And she started to let go and relax. And I'm so grateful that she can live that kind of life now. And I'm like, Mom, you got to trust us. I said, you didn't teach me to be deceitful or anything like that. We will handle what's supposed to be handled. You won't lose. We will win and we will prosper together. This is not all on you, because she brought up a lot of things like, oh, when you do this or you do that, it's just so hard. And I said, it was hard on you. It was hard on you because, you were alone and you were by yourself. You're not alone anymore. So us constantly having those conversations and just being together. I'm seeing my mom kind of relax in a way I never seen her relax before. My mom, had been a widow for many years, and so and she moved away from her family, many miles away from her family, to be with her husband, and then became a widow. And where some people might have turned back, she did not. She stayed where she was. She kept her family strong, and I know I didn't, but I guess in my mind I didn't think of how difficult that was for her until I'm trying to relinquish, just trying to help her, and she can't let go. When I say she's holding on so tight, and I'm like, it's okay, I can take this from you, I can do this, it's okay, and that's having these conversations, and her actually being vulnerable enough to now finally talk to me about it, and she's expressing her fears and why. And I know, because I didn't move millions of miles, a lot of miles away from my family, but I was a single mom and trying to do those things. So I get where her mind is. And it's a really big revealing all around, because, like, I see what kind of things I carried, because of the things she carried. But at the same time, now my kids are seeing, like, we don't have to do that. We don't have to live like that no more. You know what I'm saying? We are together. None of us are alone anymore. We don't have to have that full burden of everything being solely on us, and relinquishing some of those things. And again, really trusting that other person not to drop the ball. And so it has inspired new things for even my adult children, because sometimes adult kids, you know what I'm saying, when they in their early 20s, they still want to play and do this, like, oh, I'll pay that bill when no, this is not that. You said you would do it, so I need you to do it. You know what I mean? And they are seeing too, because we're not having these conversations behind closed doors. My mom is being vulnerable and she's saying her fears. I said, do you see how, she's scared? Can you understand that? Can you, you know what I mean, embody this? And they're really understanding. And we're all trying to help my mom be more comfortable with this and giving everybody else strength. They are stepping up without asking. People, we are just more intertwined. It's a beautiful thing, It's a really beautiful thing. No one's looking at doing big, selfish ventures, and I'm just so proud. And even my little ones, and now they're understanding money, and we're talking about entrepreneurship. My granddaughter, that's 8, she's like, Grandma, we live on a good street. Like, people walk up and down the street all the time. There's about a group of 4 ladies that walk around our blocks twice a day. She's like, I think I want to start selling some lemonade, or maybe they need some water. I said, yes, sis, sell them some water, girl. Like, but just the fact that she's thinking about that, like, she can see and look and see a need. That's an entrepreneur mind, and that's something that we kind of been missing in our family, because I think even though my mom in other ways has helped us prepare for other things, the finance piece was never, she would always say, like, I'm not good with numbers, but I was good with numbers. So I kind of got us to one aspect, and then I see my grandkids taking us to another level. I said, oh yeah, we ain't working for the man no more. You about to be an entrepreneur. Your mind is always going. She makes and sells her own plate. It's not Play-Doh. What's that, slime? And they got all different kinds. She makes orders. She has a whole little book that she keeps record of when she goes to school. Anyway, but I love her entrepreneur mind. I was never that person. I was always a little timid to put myself out there, but she is not. When I say she goes and she's on it. And so the fact that I can see where we started and where we come, and communal living, and us all being in this one house, and we span 5 generations. It's beautiful. And I'm just kind of in the middle, looking at both ways. I'm looking to my past. It's a real Sankofa moment, and I'm looking at the past, and then I'm looking at my future, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I cannot wait to see how far we'll go. I said, this is just the beginning. And my kids, everybody has stepped up in ways I couldn't even imagine. You know what I mean? I couldn't even. I don't even know. It's like, so, for me, I'm just very much enjoying what's to come and seeing it all unfold. I never would have thought I could do something like this before I was introduced to this group. And Mianu was talking about communal living, and I was just, man, as soon as she started talking about it, I'm like, it just was in my head so tough. I started talking to my families. I forwarded on the podcast, like, hey, we doing this. Like, I didn't even ask anybody if they wanted to do it. That's my type of thing. I don't typically ask. I'm like, I learned a long time ago. I ask for getting it for later if it had to come to that. I'm not going to ask you. I'm telling you, this is what we're doing. So get prepared. We're doing this. And the way the world works, I said we was going to do it next year, but things happened and it sped up that process. So I know that was our ancestors moving. I know that was my spirit guides moving. They're like, no, don't give them no more time. You said you're doing it. Let's go. You're doing it. So it's like, oh, okay, we're going now. And so and it's been beautiful. It's been amazing. It's been, a lot. It's a lot of breathing. Like, woo, take some deep breaths. We gotta get through this. But I couldn't have asked for a better experience in getting to know myself and my mom in such a way. And like I said, that Sankofa moment, because I can even we talk about her mother and just the generations. Anyway, you just can see it. Like I can just see this line, and I'm looking back and I'm looking forward, and it's like, wow. So if anybody is thinking about it, it's a beautiful journey of really getting to know yourself and your bloodline and your family. And it's a beautiful way of people really stepping up, and doing what they should be doing, and walking a path hand in hand with your family is the most secure thing. Sometimes we walk in this world and we feel so alone, even when we're surrounded by people. But when you walk hand in hand with people, you don't feel that alone. And so I've been elated about all of it, and so happy that I was guided to do this and push our family towards this. Um, Alafia.
That is so beautiful. I always love hearing your experience and seeing you truly living and embodying it, and seeing what a gift it is to do communal living within your family, and see how generational curses are being broken, and the fruits of the labor of your mom and you, is always so encouraging to hear. Um, has anybody else had any experiences with communal living? What do you think about doing that with your family or, other people who are on the same journey? The floor is open.
I go. Um, I've never lived in a communal uh, type of environment per se. And it's funny you talking about that because I was just looking at something the other day and they were talking about how the more people live in urban areas, the less community based we become. It's kind of hard to stay in that mindset trying to survive when you're put into a setting where everything comes before becomes well priority becomes basic survival, right? And it's even seen in the way that our houses are made here in the West. Like everybody has their own bedroom, and in perfection everybody has their own bathroom. Like there's nothing communal. So with that being said, what I do notice is people who seem to be a little bit more communal are people that live out in more of the rural areas. And with that being said, even though I'm a nomad and in a nomadic lifestyle, me going to different places, and I actually have friends who are nomadic, and I visit them sometimes. But I think it's a beautiful thing. One of the things I have noticed, and I tell my friends that, especially when I go to different countries in Africa, I did notice that it's very important for the older generations to be able to spend time with the younger generation, because that's really where the wisdom is passed down. Um, and also, it's a safety thing, I think, for me. Um, it's just really weird. And this has maybe just been my experiences. I do understand now why there are certain places that were like women only, because it seemed like, I've experienced some communes where people started that and the egos of the males turned into something totally different. Like it changed the whole not just energy of the place, but there was starting to be other things like abuse and things that were like totally unnecessary. But then at the same time, you need some type of protection from them. That's the crazy thing. When they be like, well, who's going to protect you? Protect us from who? Like, we need a man to protect us from another man. How about y'all hold each other accountable? Or, you know what I mean? Be able to protect those that you come from. So with that being said, I think it's just important. It's very important for there to be a structured society where there's ma'at, or basically balance between those, and everybody having a single point of view, that people can have different opinions, but single point of view as far as this is what we come here to do. I think that's important. Um, also, but where my heart is, I know I have a big heart, especially for baby boomer generations, like my aunts, my parents, and them, and the issues that they have here, especially in the U.S., and facing not everybody, but a lot of them are facing homelessness. They've worked all of their lives, and their retirement savings is still not enough to provide for them, um, you know, to live here. So, but I'm actually seeing off of the internet how they come together for each other. Um, I grew up in an era where they used to have like rent parties. If somebody needed help or what have you, they would throw a party or throw a gathering. They also had, I guess they still do it, I don't know, but they have shot houses. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically, where Black people live, one person, if somebody needed to raise some money, they would say, hey, the shot house is at my house. And people would come to their house and buy a drink, like for $1.50 or $2, and it was just kind of like they would raise money. So they would take like a $10 bottle or whatever alcohol. By the time they served it, they made like $25, $30 off of that. But, it was just something. It was quote unquote illegal, but it was word of mouth. It was something that the community did. They also, you could buy alcohol. They would serve plates. It was just like something that they did. Now, all of these people worked, but everybody had, their issues, and still word of mouth. And this was, I think, the last time I experienced that. Um, Knowing that some of my family was doing that, and that wasn't too, maybe like before COVID. So I don't know if they still do it. They probably do, but economics and being able to barter and all of that amongst each other, it's is so important for our survival period, especially when you're dealing with community. And it's good to actually, be able to have that. So maybe one day, I don't know, I would actually love to be able to get some type of land and, form some type of community with like-minded people, being able to, you know, help each other out. I think it's definitely imperative. So I go.
I go. I love that you brought up other cultures and what you see around the world. But you're right. In the U.S., it's very individualized culture, where it's like you're praised for being on your own. It's like you've made it. If you have your own house, you've moved out of your family's house, you have, this is yours and you're independent. And our houses are built that way, apartments are built that way. It's interesting that other cultures, though, here, even in the US, other cultures, they still live communally. For example, like Hispanic cultures. I'm originally from New York, but I lived in Texas for a very long time. And so you would see people from Mexico. They would come and they would live communally. They would come, they would live with whoever was like here already, whether that be their daughter or their parent or their cousin or aunt or uncle. They would come live with them. They would bring people, and so you would see the house be filled with like 3 and 4 generations of family. And it was a way of them making sure that they started off in a good footing, because the U.S. is not going to give them what they need to start their lives. But maybe they all couldn't afford to individually pay rent somewhere, pay bills somewhere. Maybe somebody needed a job. And this is just not Mexico. This is not just Mexicans, because you see it with Asians. You see it with even like the African that moved over here. Like, you see them living together to kickstart their life in a new place. And it works. I see how it happens. Like, there's always someone to watch. Maybe the grandma's there. There's always someone to watch the kids. So you don't have the expensive daycare, or you have, if transportation is an issue, one or two people in the house have a car. And then you're only paying, one or two car notes versus 5, 6, 7, 8 car notes based on who lives in the house. Rent is broken down by whoever is working. So maybe, like how Angel said, maybe, the burden is lifted off of the grandparents or the parents, and the kids, the older kids are working and they're paying rent. And then at that point, it's like they're not paying full rent. So where in the city can you, pay rent for $500 a person? Like, it's not possible. So it helps like build the economics of the unit. If somebody wants to start a job, like not a job, but be an entrepreneur, they want to start a business, it pools money for you to invest. Like, all the family invest in this business, and Johnny is the one who goes out and starts it, and he pours back into the family once it starts to be successful, and invests in someone else. Like, it's just like an economic like a one-up. And I think this is what, African Americans being pushed to like assimilate to this Europeanized or westernized culture of individualism. We lose that. We find it shameful to live with our parents, or shameful to, have a whole bunch of people in the house, and you don't have anything that's yours. I think that mindset could change, and like Angel pulling her family together in that way, it's going to strengthen them, and give them a one-up in a society that's not ever going to give us a one-up. So I think for community economics, living communally is essential. And I just like that there are other cultures, even though they're here, that keep that. For instance, also in the wider community. So I've seen in Houston, we have a big Asian community, big Vietnamese community, and they will communally go to do everything. Like, it's not just like in the home, it's like how they interact with the marketplace. So you'll see a group of Vietnamese. If somebody needs a car, you'll see a group of Vietnamese go to the car dealership. They're all family. They're all like, they know each other. They'll go buy a car and they'll group negotiate with the dealership. Like, we got 5 people here ready to buy a car. We're going to negotiate a group discount on this car. We're going to get, 30, 40% off. Like, they group negotiate. They attack the marketplace in a way that gives them buying power. That's interesting. Or they'll buy like not just a storefront, but they'll come together with the community and they'll buy the whole complex, and they'll group negotiate and work the marketplace to their benefit. And I don't see that we do that much, but I like that way of doing things, because again, nobody's going to give us space in the marketplace, but nobody is going to deny that it's not just one person buying a unit. You want to buy my whole complex, and the negotiation with that is way stronger. You have more leverage than this one guy buying this one lot. And so I really think it's important for us to begin to shift our mindset, so that we can be more stronger in the marketplace and have better representation, and have better fundamental economics in our communities. Alafia.
I'll go. That is such an interesting concept. I didn't know about like the group going to buy a car or an apartment complex, and there really is power in numbers. And I think about with our community how we were programmed not to trust each other, to break down our group dynamics. And I think that as a community, our biggest, like, the best way for us to be able to move forward is to truly embody the concept of Sankofa, because I think that right now we're still living in that mentality of what was taught to us, that we can't trust anybody, including our family and everything like that. And it's based on reality. I'm not trying to gaslight anyone's experience because there's a lot of harm that's been done within families, but we need to be able to start rebuilding those bonds and those relationships so that we can move forward. Because I think that's one of the hardest things with living communally. If everybody is not on the same page and committed to the goal of living together and everything we're doing is for the group, when you're still kind of holding back, like I need to protect myself, then that like then you can't like truly move forward and live healthily. And so I think that's what I want to see the most of, is us being able to let go of our wounds from the past and take all of the lessons from the past to be able to move forward. How do we make it so that nobody can ever come between us again? How can we make it so that we are never psychologically programmed to betray each other? Like, what does that look like? What does it really mean when we really are one band, one sound? Like, how can we truly do that? Like, when I first saw pictures of plantations and things like that, the thing that struck me was how there's like no like walls or gates or anything. It's like when you have the mind, you truly have the body and the person. And so I think for us to be able to really get back to it is to be able to heal that and rebuild that trust, because right now it's like in our DNA to not trust each other, to feel like we can't depend on anyone but ourselves. And that's ultimately what's killing us. And so those protective measures, the thing that once got us safety to be able to be here today, is now doing the exact opposite and is starting to kill us off. And so I hope that as we're able to rebuild this, we're going to see our community move forward. And a lot of times in my experience, being from a very stubborn lineage, it's like spirit gotta place me in a specific position when no other like moves. And I feel like that's kind of where the world is going to, where it's like, nah, y'all gotta face these deep wounds and you guys are gonna have to do something about it. And so I'm excited to be able to see our community, African people, really regain our power. And I'm really, really excited to see what it looks like when all of the world's cultures are in their cultural power and we're working together, because we all have what each other needs. And so I'm excited to be able to see what we can all bring to the table. Like the very best meals are the multicultural potlucks where everybody bring their best dish. And so even though it's really hard right now, I know that that's what we're moving towards. So I am praying that we can all gain strength from that vision to get us through these harder, darker days. Alafia, Alafia, Alafia. Okay, this has been a really good conversation. Every week it's really good, and you never know where it's going to go. We have gone so many different places in this conversation, but it's been so like just invigorating. And we have a few more days of the daily words of power. And it sounds like we all have things that it would be really, really great to be able to come together to pray for. So just reminding everybody, um, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, midnight Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. West Africa. We get together and we pray. Wednesday is the new moon, so that's an extra potent time. But even if you're not able to get on the call, just make that intention to say your prayers, right? To help on this journey, because we need to have as much strength and as much support as possible as we are going through these times. We are going to be having our Mommy Goddaughter class next. And so does anybody have anything that they would like to say or need support on throughout the week that we could be helping you with before we end today's call? No? Okay. Well, I'm excited for next week to hear any updates, see how y'all are doing. But until next time, everyone be well.